Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. For context, my husband and I have a really bad relationship with his brother and his brother's fiance. Husband is very low contact with them and only sees them at family gatherings. I try to maintain no contact and only go to gatherings if told brother-in-law and fiance are not in attendance. Without getting into too much detail, they're rude to us, used us for financial help in the past, gotten angry at us when we asked for any sort of help later on ourselves, or stopped giving help because we also need our money. And they've also stolen from us. My husband was reluctant to cut brother-in-law out of our lives until he and fiance had stolen some money from us a few years ago. Brother-in-law and fiance have never apologized, taken accountability, or repaid any money they'd borrowed or stolen. Husband fully admits he doesn't like them and doesn't entertain their attempts to contact us. I just have them muted, so I don't know if they even try to contact me. Recently, husband and I were at a family dinner at his mom's, mother-in-law, and while I'd been told brother-in-law and fiance wouldn't be there, they turned up. That's a talk with mother-in-law about boundaries for another day. During dinner, brother-in-law and fiance had announced that fiance is pregnant, and during the rest of the time, fiance kept making comments about needing help from auntie, OP, with the baby, and how I need to get over my hang-ups and be a good aunt, and other comments implying I should give them money for the new baby. Brother-in-law was making similar remarks to my husband, and to my husband's credit, he kept saying no. I also kept telling fiance no. I do not want to be a free babysitter. We have no relationship to speak of. I will not help with this child. If we had a good relationship and they'd thought to ask, then maybe I would help, but that's not the situation. It got to the point where brother-in-law and fiance said we owed it to them, and family helps family. I finally had enough and told them, sure, family helps family, but that argument only works when it's an actual two-way road. Neither you nor fiance have offered any help when others need it. You only ever demand help. Neither of you will be getting a second of my time or a cent of my money for your baby. You chose to have a baby. You handle it. Don't go assigning people as your personal child care when you're already on bad terms with them. We left basically immediately after. The family is largely torn on it, and mother-in-law is asking us to reconsider, or at least apologize, because they need all the help they can get. Babies are expensive and need a lot of care. I get that, but I don't think it was appropriate of them to essentially demand our time and money for this. I don't know. Maybe I overdid it. OP needs to try talking to mother-in-law when she's sober, because surely she can have been when she asked OP to apologize. OP has nothing to apologize for or reconsider. It is time for OP's husband to cut brother-in-law off for good. They all are just an ATM to them. I'm not sure how helpful the boundaries conversation will be with mother-in-law. Given the reaction, it kind of sounds like she may have set OP and her husband up for them to show up and ask them for more time, help. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Pete Friend 86 says, not the a-hole. Family is a two-way street, and even then, it's not something to be pushed into. Extinct Diplodocus says, not the a-hole. If babies are expensive, and they are, then surely brother-in-law and fiance prepared for that before the pregnancy. It's their child and their responsibility for the money, time, and work to raise their baby. Yes, do show her the list of what they stole and what they owe, and let mother-in-law know that you wouldn't even think of giving them more money until you get repaid. Oh yeah, you and your husband need to warn her that if brother-in-law and fiance walk into any family gathering, you and husband will immediately walk out. A Beer and a Book says, not the a-hole. Keep them blocked. Mother-in-law is cruising for blocking as well. I would give anyone who comes at you an earful about brother-in-law's history of using you, and make special note of what they stole. I, 29 female, am married to Nate, 29 male, and his sister is Denise, 29 female. We were all childhood friends, and I married Nate almost a year ago. Denise at the time was 7 months pregnant with her first child. Her husband is Wayne, 30 male. Not too long after our reception started, Denise went into preterm labor. Her pregnancy up until that point was not high risk, so this was completely out of nowhere and stunned all of us. She understandably had to leave with Wayne to the hospital, and most of their side of the family left out of concern. She insisted we stay and have fun, and Lord knows Nate and I tried, but knowing that she was in unexpected high-risk labor was at the forefront of our minds, and we made the difficult decision to end the reception about an hour and a half early and joined up at the hospital. My nephew Ben was born that night, and we were all excited, but I'll admit, Nate and I felt a bit miffed that our wedding day was kind of stolen by this event. We kept this to ourselves, though, as this was obviously unplanned, and it's cruel to put that on Denise and Wayne. But from that point on, nobody ever talked about our marriage, just baby Ben. The times I think a relative mentioned our wedding could be counted on one hand. I get it. New additions to the family are ultimately more important. But my wedding day will never just be about my wedding. It'll be about Ben. And whenever he comes up or I see him, I feel bitter because I'm reminded of what happened at the wedding. Yes, I know I'm jealous of a baby. I feel like crap for it. Nate was like this too for a while, but grew out of it. I'm still working on it. Ben is turning 1 in 2 weeks, and that's all everyone's talking about. Not a peep about our anniversary. I already know I'll just be depressed and mopey the whole time, so I asked if Nate could politely tell them I would not be there. He did, and Denise was pretty upset, and demanded to know why. He refused, so she confronted me via text. She told me that she's picked up on how I seem sad whenever Ben is mentioned, and said I'm hurting her that I can't tell her why. I decided to be honest and tell her that I've been very depressed, not just for this issue, but it's contributing, and that I felt that my wedding was overshadowed by her unexpected labor. I did tell her I'm not mad at anyone because it was unplanned. I just need to not be reminded of it on my anniversary. She did not respond and just blocked me. But Wayne uninvited Nate and told him to keep him and I far away from his family. Nate's confused, and I feel like crap. Am I the a-hole? Wow. OP is one of the biggest a-holes I've ever met. I'm sure sister-in-law didn't want to go into labor preterm, and she didn't plan it either. I'm sure they would have preferred the baby be born full-term rather than during OP's reception. Also, OP needs to realize that while her wedding was enormously special to her, it is not that special to anyone else. Premature baby or no, OP's relatives were never going to be randomly reminiscing about her wedding or anniversary. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Cantor Circle says, Ben is turning 1 in 2 weeks, and that's all everyone's talking about, not a peep about our anniversary. Well, yeah, that's just how things go. Your anniversary is an important date to you, but with all due respect, it doesn't really mean much to anyone else. You and your husband are the ones who are supposed to be giving each other attention on your anniversary. You know that Denise didn't do anything to intentionally steal attention away from you. Neither did that baby. Grow up a bit. You're the a-hole. JRM1102 says, You're the a-hole. You are unequivocally and most assuredly being an a-hole. She went into labor 2 months early. That was not planned and likely very scary. Sure, your wedding was overshadowed, but who cares? It was a one-day party. Ben is a whole human being. I also don't understand why you think people are supposed to be celebrating your anniversary. That's for you and your husband to celebrate. Birthdays are something a family celebrates. Too long didn't read. You're jealous of a baby. JMBBL says, Maybe I've been doing weddings wrong. Are we supposed to continuously talk about other people's weddings after they've happened? Are we supposed to observe other people's wedding anniversaries? You're the a-hole. My sister, female 29, and I, female 23, are both pregnant. She's nearing her 7th month. She had an accidental pregnancy with someone she was having an affair with, so she's not getting his support. My sister moved back with our parents, and she's at risk of losing her job. She has hyperemesis gravidarum, so she's really not having a good time, and she has had to skip work often. She was also recently diagnosed with gestational diabetes. I also got pregnant accidentally, but with my boyfriend, male 25, who I've been dating for 2 years. I'm in my 14th week. It was a big surprise to us because I was on birth control, but we were already living together. We're planning on getting married, so we were able to accept this a lot better. Besides that, I've had the normal pregnancy symptoms, which kind of sucked more than I expected them to, but my nausea is almost non-existent by now, so I'm doing a lot better now. My parents and I live close by, so I visit often. Also, when I got pregnant, I asked her for the contact with her doctor, So ever since, we have been going together to our checkups because I thought that she'd like it, and it was helpful for her as well. The thing is that my sister and I are spending more time together and often talking about our pregnancies as well. So my sister had her baby shower last week. The party was nice, and we got to see some of our extended family who live away. Since they're my family as well, they asked me about my pregnancy too, and we chatted about that as well. My boyfriend was invited too, so because I'm the closest person to him, he was with me almost all the time. By then my sister got upset. She wasn't feeling well, and I don't know exactly what triggered her, but she got angry at me because I was stealing the attention away from her. She told me I always want to be the focus of attention, and I can't even let her have one day. She said that I'm always bragging about how good, supportive my boyfriend is, and how easy my pregnancy is, and I don't know when to shut up because I don't have empathy for others that are going through a harder time. I started crying. This was so unexpected to me because she has never implied or said something about this before. Our parents and my boyfriend rushed to comfort me, and they got angry at her. They had an argument, and my boyfriend and I left. Almost everyone sided with me at this, and yesterday my sister sent me a long message about how I was an entitled and spoiled golden child, literally like that, and how much she always feels like she's in the shadows because of me. She accused me of getting pregnant on purpose because I couldn't tolerate not having everyone's attention, that I complain about small things when I have it easy, all of that. She blocked me so I couldn't reply anything. I only spoke about this with my boyfriend, and he told me to not listen to her. He also told me that I should tell my parents about this because the way my sister is treating me is unfair. But what if she's actually right? Well, OP's pregnancy is very early. I personally would have waited to announce until after her shower, or at the very least, tried to redirect the conversation back to my sister. OP allowed others to question her on her pregnancy and congratulate OP, knowing this day was about her sister. Also, I think crying was over the top and really stole the spotlight away from OP's sister. Firm Molasses says, "Your sister may not be getting support from the affair partner, but she should be getting financial support. She should consult an attorney for her options for child support." Adventures of Violet says, "You did right, accidental pregnancy with someone she was having an affair with, so she's not getting his support. When you could have wrote plainly, the father is not involved. That makes me think you did want to put her in a negative light. I'm sure I'll get downvotes for writing that. Oh well. She was far too harsh, absolutely, and you crying definitely turned the spotlight in your direction. As well, don't go running to your parents talking about fairness. Your boyfriend's advice is rather ridiculous. You're adults and need to work it out amongst yourselves. So everyone sucks here, you a bit less so. And make a plan before your shower in a couple months, so the spotlight isn't taken from you, as your family will want to talk about her new baby." Pleasant Birthday 77 says, "Everyone sucks here. Obviously, she was way over the top. But the fact that you're so keen to let everyone know that her unplanned pregnancy was bad and immoral, whereas your unplanned pregnancy was good, is curious to me. If that's the way you, and the rest of your family, always position yourself to others in relation to her, she may be reacting to that." My 28 male, sister Katie, 30 female, recently got engaged to her partner of 7 years. They haven't set a date, but are planning for something around fall 24 or spring-summer 25. For background, our mother passed away after years of health problems 6 years ago. Given how long she was sick, I'm pretty sure our dad grieved before she was officially gone. I think this is why he was able to move on quickly to his current wife, Andrea. They got married 2 years after my mom died. It was obviously weird at first for me to see our dad with someone else, but she's honestly really cool, and I've never seen him so happy. Even before my mom was sick, I don't think they ever really had the chemistry he has with Andrea. He is literally always smiling when she's around. It took some time to get used to Andrea being part of my family, but now she's become an integral part of it, and I'm so thankful she's taking a real grandmother role to my 2 kids, even if she's just related to them by marriage. Katie has never been able to get over seeing my dad move on, and to this day, won't acknowledge her as part of our family. While she doesn't say rude things directly to her, she is very curt with her, and honestly comes off super catty with her. Anyways, so with her being engaged and starting wedding planning, my dad, who is well off, has always said he'd pay for our weddings. He paid for most of mine and was willing to pay for all of Katie's. That is until Katie said she won't allow Andrea at her wedding, as she thinks it's an insult to our mom. My dad has withdrawn his offer to pay for the wedding or attend, unless his wife is invited. Personally, I find this 100% reasonable, as Andrea has never done anything wrong or bad to us. This isn't the case of an evil stepmother. It's just an adult not willing to let her father move on. Katie and her husband asked me to be a groomsman, and for my son to be a ring bearer, and daughter to be a flower girl, and originally I said yes. But now with all this drama, I just don't want to anymore. I feel like I'd be enabling a grown woman being unnecessarily mean to Andrea for no reason, who at this point, I 100% consider family. I've gotten some mixed feedback from my friend group about this decision, so I'd be interested to hear from outsiders who don't know anyone involved. Delightful Sea Dragon says, "Not the a-hole, but your sister is probably wrestling with missing her mom extra hard right now, as it's her wedding, and maybe she thinks seeing her stepmom will make that pain worse. Maybe a compromise of Andrea only coming to the reception and not the ceremony. Also, I would try to talk to her gently about all those first, before saying you won't come, and neither will your kids, because then she'll end up feeling extra alone and abandoned on her special day, and her mom will still be dead, which sucks. So try communicating, seeing her side, and finding a compromise before going scorched earth and missing your sister's wedding." Interesting You says, "Not the a-hole. Have a sit-down conversation with your sister. Explain that she would be much happier if she dealt with her feelings for your mom's passing and your dad moving on. You could point out that your dad would only move on because he had such a good marriage with your mother, and it set him up for the desire for another happy relationship. She doesn't have to treat stepmother as a replacement, but as an addition that makes your father happy." Zara Ziggles says, "Not the a-hole. It's crazy that your sister can't let go of the past and appreciate the happiness your dad has found with Andrea. You're just standing up for your family, which includes your dad's wife. It's sad that Katie's letting her issues get in the way of a beautiful family moment like a wedding."